Hi, I'm Jenny Giles, President and founder of Community Equipped. An effective fundraising strategy is a tool that gets all of your board and staff on the same page, moving forward together in a cohesive direction. The fundraising strategy will leverage your existing resources and identify the fundraising activities that will most benefit your organization. In this video, we're going to discuss aligning your fundraising strategy with your mission, vision, and values, creating fundraising goals, evaluating your resources, and managing fundraising goals. In the same way that your programs serve and further the mission of your organization, your fundraising work should serve and further the mission of your organization. Your fundraising work should reflect your values, your vision for the community, and the way that you interact with your community. One of the things that I like to do with my clients who are brand new to fundraising or really looking to overhaul their fundraising strategy is to start by examining their organizational values. For example, if one of your organizational values is compassion, how is that value playing out in your fundraising strategy? How is that value expressed in your appeal letters, in your marketing, in your social media, and your website? So I highly encourage the executive staff at your organization and the development committee to sit together and talk through each of your organizational values and come up with tangible ways that those values are expressed through your fundraising strategy and your fundraising activities. Let those values and your mission be the guiding star for your fundraising work. After your team has gone through your organizational values and identified how they are expressed in your fundraising program, reiterate this and re-examine it when you have new board members and bring them into the spirit and the heart of your fundraising program. So as you are building your fundraising strategy, it's important to build a strategy that has diverse revenue. So some revenue coming from grants, some revenue coming from corporations, some from special events, some from individual donors, and maybe even some from government contracts or grants, if that's part of your work. In addition to thinking about funding coming from different sources, think about the timing of this funding. It can take up to a year or more to secure grant funding from foundations. It can take time to build an individual donor base. So think about how the timing of this plays into your cash flow over the course of the year. So as you begin to narrow down your fundraising activities and really deciding which ones are the right fit for you, you're going to pair those activities that align with your values and your organization's mission. And then look at the resources that you have. How can you leverage your existing relationships? Where do you have a competitive advantage? Do you have collaborations with other organizations that would make an outstanding grant proposal? So leverage the things that you're good at, the relationships that are strong, instead of trying to fill the holes where you are less strong. In the early years of an organization, you might become dependent on one source of funding, such as government grants or contracts or private foundation grants. That's okay, but you do want to make plans for diversifying your revenue. This will mean that you'll be in a better financial position to weather storms like a worldwide pandemic. But it also demonstrates to funders that you have a strong, healthy foundation and you are a good investment. An important part of any successful or impactful fundraising strategy is putting goals to it and making sure that those goals are reasonable and achievable. Some of the goals should, of course, be about how much money you're raising. But there are other goals that can be really helpful. We know that there are certain types of activities that over time lead to generating more funds. So one example of a goal that is not necessarily tied to specific revenue is having the executive director meet with 1 to 2 potential donors or funders every month. Some of those relationships are going to result in funding quickly. Some of them may not result in funding at all. Some of them may result in funding or partnership over time. But we know, research definitely says that if you continue to engage externally in that way and meet with people and invite collaboration, that money and funds and opportunity will come. As you are creating goals that support your fundraising strategy, remember that it's everyone's responsibility to engage in fundraising. So you want to create goals for your executive director, your development staff, and your board. There are a number of activities that support your fundraising strategy that aren't necessarily measured by how much money you raise. In this example, we can see that there are community outreach and operational efficiency goals that are important to having an effective fundraising strategy, but their success is not measured by how much money is raised. Ultimately, these activities will lead to increased donations, but understanding and measuring the activities that lead to increased donations is key. In every fundraising strategy, it's important to make sure that every goal can be measured, that it's assigned to someone specific, and it has a timeline. Breaking down your fundraising activities into more detail will help provide insights and understanding about which activities are supporting your overall fundraising success. Instead of having a large goal of, we want to raise $100,000 through grant writing, break up the goal into, we want to submit 5 proposals. This helps you evaluate which specific activities are getting you the results you want. In this example of submitting 5 proposals, you may raise your revenue goal or you may not. But if you submit 5 proposals and 4 are funded and they don't total $100,000, that is still a highly successful result. So you are successfully meeting the activity goal. The financial goal is where the adjustment would occur. There are an unlimited number of activities and things that you can do when it comes to fundraising. And part of evaluating your resources is understanding the things that you're not going to do. It's much better to do a small number of things well than to do a little bit of everything poorly. As you consider the resources that you have to support your fundraising strategy, look at where you are the strongest. If you have a board or programs that engage heavily with corporations and businesses, look to them for fundraising first. They're going to be your biggest supporters because they already know who you are and they're already invested in your work. The most important resource for your fundraising strategy is actually staff time. So be mindful that it takes more time than we think to do a number of these fundraising activities. So let the staff who are doing the work tell you how much time it really takes. As you begin evaluating the success of your fundraising strategy and you start looking at these individual goals, let the staff propose solutions. Let them identify where things maybe didn't happen as expected, where they didn't quite have the result that they wanted, where they might have been disappointed, but also what went really well. The fundraising staff are in this work daily and they know it intimately, and most likely they're going to have the best solutions. So sometimes when you get results that are a little disappointing or not what you expected, the development committee of the board may get really into the work of trying to solve the problem and coming up with solutions. But remember, it's the staff that are the professional fundraisers, and the board is there to be the encourager, supporter, and to hold them accountable. Be realistic when you're evaluating your strategy and prioritize the activities and small strategies that are going to give you the greatest impact. Sometimes, when a fundraising activity does not get the result that you wanted, the knee-jerk reaction can be to completely get rid of that activity and start something new. However, when you completely start over in that way, you lose any momentum that you've built, any relationships that you've built, any collaborations that you've built. So Be open to just tweaking things. Maybe the activity needs to be done at a certain time, a different location, with maybe just a little difference here or there. So simply isolate the element which maybe wasn't working and address that instead of throwing the whole thing out. So remember, your fundraising strategy should first and foremost align with your mission and your values. It is one of the best ways to express who you are as an organization. Make your strategy reasonable, achievable, and involve everyone in the organization.